From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Millicent Walker.
Hello and welcome. Opposition People's Democratic Party makes moves to ask Supreme Court to review its judgment on the presidential election as ruling APC fires back, also seeks reversal of verdict on Bayelsa and Zamfara governorship polls. Inspector General Police orders investigation into the death of footballer Tiamiu Kazim as Shagam residents' peaceful protest over his death turned violent. President Buhari approves constitution of National Humanitarian Coordination Commission to be co-chaired by Humanitarian Affairs Minister and the NSA. And the World Health Organization warns of a possible global coronavirus pandemic, says the world should do more to prepare. Plus, we have business, sports and news from Abuja, the FCT, and later, international news from our London studios.
On business news tonight, Minister of Finance and Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, proposes new incentives to boost Nigeria's capital market.
On sports news tonight, after a solid start to the 2020 season, tennis sensation Coco Gauff becomes first 15-year-old in 15 years to make the top 50 on the WTA rankings.
And from Abuja, Nigeria's gross domestic product records 2.55% year-on-year growth in the fourth quarter of 2019, the best growth since the country came out of recession in 2016.
As the leading political parties mount pressure on the Supreme Court to reverse its judgment on elections, the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, says it is taking steps to ask the court to review its verdict on the presidential poll. While the APC insists that the Apex Court erred in its judgment on Zamfara and Bayelsa State governorship polls, the PDP maintains that its Imo State governorship candidate was wrongly removed from office by the court.
Judgments of the Supreme Court ought to settle any dust raised by all appellants. But this has not been the case since the Apex Court delivered judgments on Zamfara, Imo and Bayelsa state governorship elections. Since those judgments were delivered, both the PDP and the APC have taken to the streets to protest where the decision of the Apex Court is not in their favor. Beyond these protests and press conferences, the two parties have also approached the Supreme Court to review and possibly reverse its judgment on those states. However, rather than wait to see how the Apex Court will treat those applications, the PDP and the APC, at two separate news conferences in Abuja, continue to increase their pressure on the Supreme Court justices.
We are calling on the Supreme Court to look at our appeal with intent of restoring our mandate back, based on the spirit of equity, fairness, and democratic tenets. The mandate of people in Bayelsa and Zamfara is what we are talking about. And you know, in every democratic setting, the will of the people is supreme.
There is a consensus among majority of Nigerians and even the international community that there was obvious miscarriage of justice by the Supreme Court panel on the Imo State governorship election, for which the PDP accordingly reverted to the Supreme Court, asking it to correct the manifest mistakes and errors in the judgment.
The PDP says it will take further steps to ask the Supreme Court to also review its judgment on the presidential elections.
The National Working Committee of our great party, the People's Democratic Party, after comprehensive consultations, states that our party has no choice left than to ask for a review of the judgment of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, where the issue of certificate forgery and or presentation of false information in the aid of qualifications was clearly established against the APC and her presidential candidate.
The Apex Court has fixed February 26, 2020 for the review of its judgment on Bayelsa State and March 2, 2020 for Imo and Zamfara states. 2 dates that the supporters of the PDP and APC anxiously look forward to.
Meanwhile, the ruling All Progressives Congress APC is not taking kindly to the call by the PDP for a review of the presidential election petition. The party, in a statement by its spokesman Larry Sarnilo, described the PDP as jobless and asked the party to engage in rice farming as a way out of its current joblessness rather than attempting to ask the Supreme Court to review the 2019 general elections outcome. The party also says it views PDP's actions as a calculated attempt to overheat the polity. Malami Sarnilo said the call by the PDP asking the Supreme Court to review its rulings on the presidential election and governorship elections in Osun, Kano, Kaduna and Katsina states has once again exposed the joke the opposition party has turned itself into in our nation's political space. According to the ruling party, never in the history of Nigeria's democratic journey has a political party made mockery of what a responsible opposition politics entails. More stories now. Service chiefs today met with President Muhammadu Buhari behind closed doors at the State House, Abuja. Though State House correspondents were not briefed on what was discussed at the meeting, it is coming on the heels of calls from various quarters for the dismissal of service chiefs as a result of perceived poor performance in the war on terror. Besides a string of attacks by Boko Haram, the insurgents had on Friday, February the 21st, attacked the town of Garkida along the Gombe-Biu-Damaturu Road in Adamawa State, leaving residents fearing for their safety. The National Security Advisor, Babagana Mongunu, was conspicuously absent from the meeting. And indeed, while the NSA was not at the service chiefs meeting with the president, that did not stop President Muhammadu Buhari appointing him as co-chair of the National Humanitarian Coordination Committee. President Buhari today approved the constitution of the committee to oversee all humanitarian actions in the country. Besides providing a national vision for humanitarian activities, the committee will also advise on coordination between security services and humanitarian actors. In addition, the committee will settle disputes that may arise from interactions between security services and the humanitarian community. Details of the approval are contained in a statement from the President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina. Other functions of the committee also includes proposing policies that enhance coordination and seamless delivery of humanitarian aid to affected communities. The Coordination Committee will be chaired by the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, with the National Security Advisor as co-chairman. Still in the Southwest. Some states there are working to ensure a strengthened security platform, and this is of existing laws to include the Southwest Security Initiative, codenamed Amotekun. In Lagos, Ogun and Ondo states, stakeholders held a public hearing to deliberate on the amendment of the bill for a law to amend the Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Corps, that's the LNSC Agency Law 2019.
The bill to legalize the Southwest Security Outfit, codenamed Operation Amotekun, may now seem to be making a headway, as it is now in its committee stage.
A house that leads and all other houses of assemblies.
Traditional rulers, lawmakers, religious leaders, civil society groups across various states in the Southwest region all gather to deliberate on the framework for the success of this initiative. At a stakeholders forum in Lagos State, The state government is amending the bill for a law to amend the Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Corps Agency Law 2019 to establish the Southwest Security Initiative, Lagos Amotekun Corps.
The Neighborhood Safety Corps is going to witness amendments that will accommodate Amotekun bill. And this bill, as the man in charge will talk to you later, talks likely about our borders, our farms, and the butchers around us in Lagos State. Amotekun has come to stay.
While some participants pledged their support for the passage of this bill, others have their concerns.
The engagement of Pres'l should not be on the basis of party, religion, or ethnic. It should be purely on merit. Who is qualified to do what?
Similarly, the Speaker of the Ogun State House of Assembly, Olakunle Oluomo, is soliciting the support of residents to ensure the success of the initiative in the state.
Now, when the bill is eventually passed and Amotekun come to being, then I will expect the people of Ogun State to give full cooperation to the organization by supporting in every way, particularly release of information. Release of information, then other support, because we allow that individuals can even make contributions for the progress of the cause.
In Akure, the Ondo State capital, the Speaker of the State House of Assembly emphasizes the relevance of the security network.
This is very important. To safeguard the life and property of our people is paramount to Ondo State House of Assembly. Many innocent lives are being wasted on a daily basis. Boko Haram, insurgency, attack, armed robbery, and so on and so forth. The Ondo State House of Assembly, we are frank, and we are not happy.
The debate is far from over, as opinions raised by participants are expected to be evaluated before the bill passes a third reading.
And to health, 70% of global cancer deaths occur in low and middle-income countries, with the disease becoming a chronic rather than terminal illness in other climes. Well, to address the situation, the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority, in partnership with the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, built the best cancer center in West Africa in 2019. Now, a medical training and an oncology research lab have been completed to boost training and manpower for the center. Our correspondent Mary Alale Yusuf has more.
This venture between the NSIA and LUTH began with the establishment of the Cancer Treatment Center. Now the Minister of Finance and the Minister of State for Health are here to commission the training and administrative building. The Lagos State Commissioner for Health is delighted with the capacity of the project.
You've developed a training facility. I think you've just done the full circle, and this is so important that we are able to ensure that other states around Lagos and even us as the Lagos State government in our Lagos State University Teaching Hospital can come here and learn from you.
The Minister of Finance, who explains that the facility would eventually be fully turned over to the hospital under the PPP arrangement, believes it can reduce the rate of medical tourism. While the Minister of State for Health outlines the capacity, a magnitude which has not been seen this side of the continent.
Let me also invite the public sector, people with means, people with deep pockets, to, as they make their investment decisions, consider investing in health infrastructure. The next step for us is to embark on this training, so that we train specialists that would provide cancer treatment in this country.
3 linear accelerators, 1 brachytherapy machine, 1 treatment planning CT, 15-seater chemotherapy suite, outpatient consulting rooms.
A tour of the cancer facilities follows, and the ministers formally opened the training center and unveil its plaque. The training center is expected to increase manpower and equip doctors to handle the sensitive machines in the treatment center. With the combination of this cancer treatment center, the best in West Africa, and the Training Institute and Oncology Research Lab, the future of cancer care in Nigeria is bright. Mary Alale Yusuf, Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, the latest GDP figures are out. To get more insight into these figures, we'll be joined by an economist with SPM Professionals, Mr. Paul Alaje. Please join us again.